Hey friends, welcome back. If you're not living under a rock, then you are aware that Bonsai just has been updated. So we got a new stable release, which is version 0.8.1. And this version has been released with 1902 fixes. It's crazy. Features and fixes. A lot of things have happened, guys, since the last release. It's crazy. Let's see what has changed. At least an overview. It's impossible to go over everything, but let's just go over the most important one. It's been 6 months since the last release. A long time ago. So fasten your seatbelts for another 3000 word essay, says Dion. I will not read everything, but yeah. This release focused on fundamental authoring capabilities and stability. That sounds good for you, I hope, right? Let's see if I can start an app here to show you where I'm reading and stuff like that. Alright, so the previous release brought support to choose between multiple geometry kernels. For a long time, IFC OpenShell and OpenCascade, but now can mix and match between CGAL and OpenCascade. Because CGAL support was new, it was highly unstable. It's now stable enough for a hybrid CGAL OCC engine to become the default. The biggest thing this means for users is that the things are much faster and regressions where objects don't load properly have been resolved. This is great. Depending on the model, load times can be easily twice as fast or better, especially if you're running a script outside Blender. So you can see here the improvement, right? And here, especially for architecture. Cool. Let's go to the next thing. Improved polyline drawing tool and general authoring. The polyline drawing tool for drawing walls has improved the input experience to be more intuitive and stable. There are also now wall and slab previews, consistent visual style, input formulas, and metric imperial parsing input, and works on all layer 2 elements, not just walls. As it matures, it's now the default tool as opposed to Shift P. Snapping has been improved with custom snap axis angle, lock angle, new increment, nice number, snapping, custom snap symbol, snap to empties and curves, and toggle snap target. When drawing walls, you can also flip walls and slabs and change their axis offset, whether you draw from center line, interior, exterior, etc., or if slab goes up or down. You can also one-click generate walls around the perimeter of a slab, or vice versa. Generate a slab from a perimeter of walls. This looks pretty good, guys, I promise you. Just give it a go. It's so much easier to model walls now. The polyline tool has been extended to now work for drawings, slab and profiled elements, beam and coverings here as well. This is great. The type manager, oh, I like the new type manager. The type manager has been consolidated and upgraded, including a new way to filter by name and better UX, user experience, to see which types are active. When adding a type, a preview is now shown. I think this is the preview that we are talking about. Let me change the arrows and I can show like this. In general, using the 3D cursor, which is really unintuitive to non-Blender veterans, is slowly going away, which is very good actually. Alright, elements that are aggregated together will now move together as a group, and you can tab into it to isolate and edit individual sub-elements. This also now works for nested elements. Yeah, pretty cool stuff. Don't get scared by all these lines. A new lock mode means you can globally lock and unlock or hide and show rarely changed elements such as grids and spatial elements. Grids are now highlighted globally and render their axis tag. Locked elements cannot be moved, duplicated or deleted. Object scales are also globally locked to prevent users from being confused about whether scaling works in IFC. Parametric object upgrades. Parametric roofs got an upgrade. The roof profile now always represents the top of eave. This better represents how things are built rather than the bottom of eave previously. The roof therefore always groans down from the profile. The rafter edge angle can only be acute. This means that the roof will never grow larger than the footprint profile that you've drawn. Before, the footprint was not guaranteed to match. The roof thickness is now the actual thickness of the roof, not the vertical dimension of the roof. This means that the roof thickness can now match intended layer thickness instead of you needing it to match to work it out. Great stuff for roofing. Parametric geometry, stairs, roof can now be added to non-geometric objects. Parametric stairs can now have the length dimension constraint, so you can change other parameters without affecting the length. Parametric doors now have rudimentary support for constituent materials, which is also cool. This means that you can have different materials and shape aspects, more on that later, for framing and lining. As this matures, this will roll out all tools. Improved measure tool. Measurements now persist snaps with multiple snap target support, has modes, single polyline area, and allow orbiting while tool is active. This looks very promising, very promising. Direct IFC element adding. Yes, this sounds as though it should have happened a long time ago, but here it is. Previously, the only way to create an IFC element was to first create a Blender object, then convert it into an IFC element. So if you wanted to add a simple solid extrusion, not a mesh, you'd first model a mesh, convert it, then reconvert the mesh into a solid through automated topological analysis. Yikes! If you wanted to add a parametric wall or a profiled beam, you'd have to either follow the present wizards or know the exact rules in how IFC uses non-geometric types and material sets to generate layered elements. Also, it's now possible to straight up directly create an IFC element. This new add IFC element is now standardized way to add any new element. So this is really great and cool. Because IFC elements are a bit more than just geometry, you're given the choice to name and describe it whilst you are creating it. You're also asked to make this choice on the type of the geometry or no geometry at all. So yeah, you can also have only information. Right now there are three main types of geometry: mesh-like, solid-like, and parametric. Solid geometry will allow you to immediately model geometry using extrusions, not meshes, similar to most existing BIM softwares. Parametric ones give you access to things like standard cases, doors, windows, stairs, and so on. Similarly, adding occurrence of a non-geometric type also now lets you pick what type of geometry to add. A special scenario is for feature elements. You might know them by the most popular type of feature, an opening in a wall. Feature elements aren't just openings, they can also be additive, protrusions for example, or surface features, paint layers. These are dependent elements which rely on parent objects to exist and add or subtract upon. Basic work is done to consolidate openings into a more holistic feature elements workflow that is consistent with how you add all objects. New item editing mode. In IFC, an object geometry is made out of items. A single item represents an isolated mesh, extrusion, Boolean operation, or similar. Viewing, adding, and editing individual items of geometry is now possible. So you see, there are more of them and you can edit only one of them. This means that you can add new distinct mesh islands or extrusions, each with their own extrusion depth and direction. This completely transforms Blender from a pure mesh-only editing tool with only rudimentary non-mesh modeling into fledgling, truly native, solid modeler, similar to the modeling paradigm in softwares like FreeCAD and Revit, ArchiCAD, Tekla, etc. It's now more significant than ever to choose an appropriate modeling paradigm per object. It's also incredibly educational and revealing when you receive a model with completely inappropriate geometry choices. That's really cool. Yeah, wow, Dion. Thank you so much for putting so much effort into writing all this description here on top of developing and making this more amazing every day. And yeah, guys, for those who don't know already who I am, my name is Petru. I'm a BIM coordinator, and we run also Bonsai Bootcamp, where we are helping professionals to actually learn practically bonsai ideas and other tools and implement them and integrate them into your workflows. If you are interested in that, contact me. Send me an email, send me a message on LinkedIn, leave me a comment, and let's talk about that and see how I can help you, because I can most probably help you. We also are growing our BIMvoice Friends community to grow it into the largest openBIM community, not only for beginners, but especially for beginners. So if you want to join, just check the description and join, okay? So you are going to find other friends on your journey when you are learning openBIM, to master openBIM and to implement openBIM in your projects. So yeah, with that out of the way, let me go on here. I hope to see you in BIMvoice Friends community, and I'll hear from you, of course, also about the Bonsai Bootcamp if you're interested, to save time. Like, I know, look, there are so many resources, but at the same time they are not updated, and when you get stuck, that's kind of the best thing where you can be, because you can get hands-on help to get unstuck and save a lot of time. Yeah, this also means that you can distinctively view and create Boolean operands and see, okay, this goes a bit too deep into these details, so yeah, but maybe it's about geometry, so maybe it's important. Not maybe, I'm sure it's important, so let me actually read it. This also means that you can distinctively view and create Boolean operands and see how they interact with individual items to combine or cut away portions of your object's geometry. Yes, Boolean unions and intersection are also now supported, and you can see the full hierarchy of Boolean operations. The old approach of creating potential Booleans is gone. This also means you can individually name and style geometric items. A new feature known as shape aspects is how you can give individual items of geometry a name. For example, if an extrusion represents a window frame, you can name it framing. This can correlate to material constituents, so if name match, the material and the geometry are correlated. If the material has a style color attached, then the geometry also inherits that color. If you use presentation layers like CAD layers, you can also assign them individual to items now. Management, add, edit, remove of layers is now possible. This also allows you to change style colors of the individual items, previously only possible in a limited fashion only for meshes. For Blender veterans, imagine material slots, Boolean modifier stacks, and vertex groups that now works for non-mesh or composite geometry native in IFC. That's neat. Alright, along with the new item editing mode comes improved profile editing support. Consecutive arcs are now supported in polylines, and composite profiles are now supported. This is a necessary step on the roadmap for advanced axis editing for curved walls and beams. You can also use an object as a template to create a new profile or swap out one profile with another when editing a profiled element or beam skirting. Structural analysis visualization. Oh, this is really cool. There is now basic visualization for structural loads and reactions. Oh, this looks very cool in Bonsai. Wow, this is strong. Costing and resourcing improvements. The web cost UI has been significantly upgraded with an ability to add cost schedules, add, delete, duplicate cost items, and edit, delete quantities, delete individual cost values, or update cost values on the fly. There is a new ribbon toolbar and improved spreadsheet layout. There are now quick actions upon hover and can click on quantity and cost cells to change values. It's now also possible to show schedule of rates. You can configure column visibility with a new form to manage cost classification. You can also assign parametric quantities from queries or link cost rates to cost items. By the way, costing is something that we cover in our Bonsai Bootcamp. So we cover everything from modeling to coordination, like validation of models, to costing and scheduling and model fixing, georeferencing, fixing, troubleshooting, and all that good stuff. So yeah, like I really had to mention this because I'm not sure where else you're going to find this. So what else we have here? WASM and ARM64 support. IFC OpenShell is now continuously built for WASM, Pyodide, and ARM64. It's still highly experimental, but it loads significantly faster now, and it's starting to become a practical choice. Check out new IFC OpenShell build server for developers. Wow. Okay, this is very interesting. I did not try this. Bug fixes. Alright guys, the number of bug fixes have become too large to list individually, so this release notes no longer mention any fixes, no matter how big or small. This is especially true since the last release represents a significant change in the core IFC OpenShell code. IFC OpenShell itself has become significantly more stable since the last upgrade. This release cycle saw 673 new issues logged and 596 issues resolved. This is great, and I can say that I definitely contributed to that. I complained a lot, I gave a lot of feedback because I found a lot of issues, a lot of bugs. And not only me, also everyone, many other members of the Bonsai Bootcamp and also from the BIMvoice friends. So we have definitely highlighted, I think, over 100 issues, I guess. Only people from these communities. So I'm very proud of that. Yeah, so there are many other things. Let's see. Is it long this? Yeah, it's long, but yeah, what should I do? What should I do? I have to go through it, right? because there are some important things here. Like all of them are important, but maybe some of them are more relevant to you. So support positioning for CSG pyramids. Warnings are now shown if manual editing or scaling is performed that isn't synced to IFC. We can now make the selected element in the decomposition panel active. The spatial decomposition panel can now switch between different modes of breakdowns, such as aggregation or classification. It is also sorted by elevation and name, adding and retrieving IFC to extreme material. Profile preset are now supported in the API. Oh, this is great. You can now reassign an occurrence to become a type and vice versa. Oh, for real? Oh, that's great. That's great. You can now detect and unshare presets individually or in bulk with new API features to assign and unassign presets. Wow, this is also very cool. New icons everywhere with automatic dark and light mode detection. Font scaling now takes into account system DPI and Blender interface scale. Block deletion or mandatory elements. Okay, styles assigned to individual IFC faces are now supported in the iterator and support loading per face colors as color attributes. Added API support for editing physical complex quantities. Okay, that's good. Schedules have a CSS class to aid in custom styling. You can now purge unused styles and materials. Oh, this is good. You can clean a lot of your model. Active BSDD is preserved across sessions. Good. BSDD improvements. BSDD now supports pagination and it's updated to the latest API. Perfect, because it was out of sync between this and Building Smart International. Power Project 2 IFC conversion now supports more languages and preserves IDs. Only relevant parametric templates are shown when creating new elements. Oh, so many interface tweaks. Improved error reporting or warnings, new descriptions and tooltips, and documentation updates. Yeah, this is important. Linked models can now be transformed. Hey! What do you mean with that? I know this is important, but what do you mean that they can be transformed, Ian? If you watch this, please let me know, okay? What does that mean? Can you bring an entire linked model into your existing model? That would be crazy. Models can be serialized to TTL WKT. Yeah. Model precision is now editable. Great. Easier selection of clipping planes. Yeah, that's good because it was very annoying actually. I have to test this. I did not test it. BIM tool now switches between add and edit modes depending on selection. Cool. IFC fill area style tiles and hatching is now supported in the style manager, which now shows all style types, not just surface, and it reports per style stats. Appending assets can now disable reusing named assets. Conversions using IFC convert can now choose between surface colors and diffuse colors explicitly. You can now merge identical styles and materials together. Advanced mode is now auto-enabled on large projects with unlimited loading enabled with a warning. And that's good, so that people will actually still see their models instead of getting an error. New Unify Shapes option in IFC Convert. Good. IFC space is now treated as special and stored in their own collection. Elements are moved into the parent collection. Adjusted documents UI to prevent invalid IFC editing. Can search through external styles, new filter for profiles used in materials, preset templates editing interface generally improved to prevent invalid states and generate unique presets name, new feature to save a preset into a template. Try to steal, allowing undo in case an error occurred so you can try to save your work. New quick way to jump to and from materials, styles, profiles when managing assigning them. All IFC lengths are now shown as lengths with units and allow matte or unit mixing. Support for authoring IFC ellipse. So many new developer util and API functions and matte utils is no longer a dependency. Converting properties to quantities now has IFC 4x3 support. Great! Quantity sets with no templates will now guess and appropriate measure type based on keywords. Wrap text annotation after number of characters is now possible, so you don't need to manually add line breaks. The render engine can now be saved for styled drawings. New date picker interface when choosing IFC date values. Resources can now import export schedule uses. Georeferencing decoration can now be resized. IFC CSV now supports importing enum values. You can now extract elements from your current selection into a new model. Voids are now shown as wireframe, colors, and inner radius. For Blender native, swept disks are now supported and can be reloaded. Linked models can now be saved as document referenced natively in IFC, so you can have IFC Federation models. That's amazing. External styles can be set using Blender Asset Browser for materials. IFC patch is now easier for devs as it no longer need the source argument. IFC tester behavior on optional facets has changed to the latest specification. Null values pass with a new color indicating optional skipped specifications in report. Kobe 2.4 now supports the coordinate tab with color-coded tabs. IFC tester can now read from XML strings. Git and IFC merge can now be installed for Git support. Unstable docs are now published and you can switch versions of docs. Group Manager completely revised and now supports bulk operations for assign, unassign. You can now select elements that use a profile. Set false origin now can handle non-georeferenced model offset. New recipe to assign constituent fractions for IFC4 reference with NVD for layered elements. Can't geometry is implemented. Can't geometry. I don't know how you read that. I hope I did not say something bad here. That was not my intention. IFC OpenShell's validation capabilities have been upgraded and now catch header issues. Spatial Manager has improved visibility controls. Yes, Spatial Manager has become so much better. Something else important. That was a mouthful, guys. I'm sorry for this. It was long, but I hope some of these are relevant for you. And now let's move to the next one. Funding target reached. We reached our funding target of $2,500 USD per month. This additional funding has sponsored many of the new features you see in this release, such as the improved wall, slab, beam modeling tools, measurement tools, and aggregate management. We're currently spending more than we earn each month, eating into our savings. That's good. Use those savings because more will come. Any donation you can help make will go a long way. Yes, you can use this link right here and make a donation. Even $5 a month makes a big difference. And if you are using Bonsai, well, I guess makes sense, right? So that is it. I hope you enjoy it. If you did not update already, you should do it immediately. Just go to Bonsai and update it. Click on update. You will see it in edit, in get extensions, and for the Bonsai, you will see there updated. Otherwise, if you have any questions, let it in the comment below, write it there, and yeah, I'm here to help you. Have a good one.